Right. So meditation on the five hindrances, actually I skipped because next time it's coming. I think I already introduced that theory part of it, whereas the doing part of the meditation will be having steps like this, which I will introduce when we are about to do it next time. Right? There are certain steps which follows in the same way, like we did for the sense faculties, internal plus external, and then arising, passing away, and then knowledge of causes. Those are the stages for the hindrance meditation also. So mindfulness on hindrance means when a hindrance is trying to take over or trying to take the power, trying to take the charge of the mind, the mindfulness will warn you. It will give you awareness. Okay, this is arising now. Okay, that ability is what we want to develop in that meditation. But before we do meditation on that, I want to uh, show you the relationship between these hindrances and concentration. Let's cover that part also before we do the meditation on that. This is how we define concentration for meditative purposes. Unification of the mind on the meditation thought. You can read it again. Unification of the mind on the meditation thought. Unification is the key word there. If you choose a meditation thought, meditation object, and unify the mind, unify means only that particular thought should be repeating in the mind, in the mental loop, then we call it unified mind. And some people use a different word for this unification. They use this word, single pointedness of the mind on the meditation thought. Some books will also use another word, one-pointedness of the mind on the meditation thought. All three are same, isn't it? Unification of the mind, or single-pointedness of the mind, or one-pointedness of the mind on what? On the chosen meditation thought. That is what concentration means, samadhi means. Of course, supposing you are solving an engineering problem, for example, say in a class, you need certain amount of unification of the mind, isn't it? Certain single pointedness of the mind to that particular issue, and then slowly resolve it. So that is also called concentration in Western world. But for meditation, unification of the mind on any thought is not called concentration. Unification of the mind on the chosen meditation thought, the word meditation is important there, chosen meditation word, thought, then we call concentration for our purpose here. But you can see these two are related a little bit, isn't it? What we normally call concentration in English is bit related to this definition as well. Right? So therefore, what I'm trying to say is that the factors that you learn here of how to achieve this concentration will also be, you will also be able to apply same theory to improve your normal concentration for studies. Therefore, these five hindrances, study of the five hindrances, and also studying the methods of how to control them will be extremely useful for your studies as well. Let us consider an analogy first before we discuss concentration. What should we do with untidy or disorganized situations or places? Like this, for example. What do you feel like doing? Right? Usually you want to keep it tight, isn't it? You would like to put it in a neat way. That's office, of course, even at home, no difference. So this kind of a tidy or neat office area is what we would like to have. Anyone would like to have, isn't it? Home front is no different, right? Home front like this, I'm sure the mind will not like. The mind will feel like, okay, I must clean this up, clean the mess up, and put it into nice order like this. So naturally, we have that tendency, isn't it, to get the things organized in office, get the things organized at home, and get the things organized in the computer, in the file structure, get the things organized in the phone. You have natural liking or natural tendency for that. Okay? What about getting the things organized inside the mind? What are the things there to be organized? Right? If the state of the mind is like one of these, right? Those are the examples I already gave you, external examples. We immediately feel that it's always better to reorganize and make it neat and tidy. If we see a similar situation within our mind, within our thoughts, suppose the thoughts are disorganized and mind is disorganized, do we feel the same way to clean it up or tidy it up? Well, we will, isn't it? Except that it's a bit difficult for us to be that focused about the state of our mind. So the moment we saw it, if we can see it, obviously, we would not hesitate to reorganize it. So the mind getting untidy is due to the 5 hindrances that prevent the right concentration. So again, hindrances are the culprits to make the mind disorganized. So a disorganized mind, during the day sometimes you might have a big plan in the morning, but as the day unfolds, you might find certain plans are not working and some firefighting needs to be done. Sudden things come up and you need to pay attention to those sudden requirements. So what happens is the mind is on fire, right? Burning. And then we want to take a rest at night. So still the thoughts of the day will prevail to some extent and might even disturb the sleep. So normal routine of a person is that at night, the fire is not very severe, but still the mind is smoking. And during the day, the mind is burning. So it's a cycle. During the day, during the day it's like this. During the night it's like this. So you transfer from this state to this state and back, and again this and back. That's how people calm down. But that's not a good way. There is a better way. You can achieve concentration uh, to clean the mind and organize the mind at any time of the day also. You don't need to wait until sleep is there, until sleep time to recover. Sleep has a natural recovery of kind of damage done during the day to the mind, but it's not enough because nowadays the day's work is havoc and night itself will not solve, and certain portion of the night also you'll have to sacrifice for the work now. Therefore, it's a vicious cycle for many workers or many people. A better way is use concentration. Better solution is to get organize the mind using better concentration. It's like driving a car. I'm giving a lot of analogies for you to make it easy to remember, right? But these are just bare analogies only, right? When driving a car, what are the decisions we need to make? Right. Of course, the steering wheel need to be used. If the car is pulling to the left bank of the road, we need to apply the corrective force to turn it right. Right? Suppose there is a pulling, you notice, to the left bank, you need to correct it by steering in the opposite direction. If there is a force pulling the car to the left, you need to correct it by steering to the left. Because if you notice that you are driving too slow and you might not be able to arrive on time, and it is the accelerator that will help you. Right? You need to speed up. Suppose you notice suddenly you are driving too fast, you need to decelerate to apply the brakes a little. These are the forces which will disturb your driving. So you need corrective action. And also from time to time, you should check whether you are taking the correct turn in the junctions to reach your destinations, which means you should not allow the doubt about the route dwell in the mind in driving. So likewise, this is just an analogy of when correct driving is not observed, you will apply corrective force to put it back in track. Same way, the mind is to be driven to concentration in certain meditations. I am now talking about not mindfulness meditations, but concentration meditation. Remember, I mentioned there are 3 levels of meditations. First level is mindfulness. On top of that, concentration. On top of that, wisdom meditations. 3 types. Now I am talking about the second level, concentration meditations, where you want the mind to be driven to concentration. Right? But there are these pulling 5 forces, 5 hindrances, like this. They are analogous to sensory desires, aversion, sloth and torpor, slowing down, worry and restlessness, overdriving the mind, skeptical doubt, making you doubtful about the destination or the route. So like these 5 forces acting on the driving, when the mind is to be driven to the concentration, again these 5 forces will block that driving effort. So what do we do then? What do we do? Just like in the driving, when the car is being pulled to the left bank, we need to apply a corrective force in the opposite direction. Right bank, corrective force in the opposite direction. Too slow, corrective force by accelerating. Too fast, corrective force by braking. Doubtful, you need to use your own thinking to develop the courage and the faith, right, on yourself. So those corrective forces, we need to identify them. Obviously, these corrective forces are exact opposite of what the hindrance is trying to do. What the hindrance is trying to do, you need to do exact opposite to correct. Okay. So hindrance is trying to pull your concentration out of that middle path. Therefore, you need to apply corrective forces and go through this, say, nest of forces that is trying to pull you out of concentration. Okay, we have to find 5 corrective forces, isn't it? 5 corrective forces, and we have to practice them. That will lead us to find this inner happiness and let the mind drive to concentration. Few analogies for cleaning the mind from hindrances. Now, each hindrance, you know, is a burden. Each hindrance is a burden to the mind because the relaxation is really there in the concentration. Hindrances are burdens. They are not relaxations. They are real burdens. You can remember these analogies in order to understand well. Well, getting rid of sensual lust is analogous to being relieved from a long debt. It's like the feeling you get that you have paid the debt now. So you are free again. That feeling of being relieved from a long debt that troubled your mind is like what you get when you free yourself from sensual lust. Right? These are just examples, right? Then being free, getting the mind free from aversion is like recovering from an illness. Right? You know, illness is really troublesome and will put your mind in a state which is burdening. The moment you recover, how happy are you? And that kind of happiness will be there when the mind is relieved from aversion. Sloth and torpor is like you are imprisoned, and after serving the sentence, you are released from the prison. Analogies, right? Restless and worry, being liberated from slavery, because the mind dwelling in the past and thinking of the future is like slavery to the mind, and the present moment awareness will relieve you from that slavery. Skeptical doubt is like being able to cross a dangerous desert safely. Being able to cross a dangerous desert safely. Let me illustrate it a little bit. Suppose you are troubled with debt. Right? Repaying that and being relieved is equivalent to getting rid of your wantings to go after seeking happiness from outside. Right? You are being relieved from that is like you have paid the debt. Then sickness, overcoming a sickness and be healthy again is similar to overcoming aversion. Recovering from an illness is like overcoming aversion, right? And then third one, coming out of prison. When you are imprisoned, it's like sloth and torpor, because sloth and torpor slow you down and prevent you doing things actively. It's like imprisonment. Getting out of that is analogous to sloth and torpor, getting out of sloth and torpor. Then suppose you are walking in a desert and you manage to come out, and that is analogous to you overcome the skeptical doubt. And suppose you are a slave and you served it and came out of the slavery, and that happiness is equivalent to getting rid of restlessness or worry, that factor, that hindrance of the mind. So think of each one, you will find how they are appropriate for the situation. Maybe you need to think a little deeply, but try to remember it by the examples. Okay, corrective forces then. I think you have already learned these corrective forces. If you can match them here onto this diagram, it's really good. About this, the very first meditation we used, we already know a tool. If this problem is there, suppose aversion is pulling your mind into one bank or out of concentration, what is the corrective tool that you can apply? Loving kindness, which is exact opposite of aversion. Okay. Sensory desires, if they try to dominate, how to curb, how to correct. Okay. That anatomical parts meditation, unattractiveness of anatomical parts will correct the mind and put it back on track. So likewise, I'm sure you already know, you have already learned, I have given already a tool for each of these culprits. So you know how to curb them, how to arrest them. Right? So can you think of all 5? What are the tools you are now equipped with? So if 5 forces attack you, you should have 5-pronged counterattack, isn't it? Counterattack in order to win. Counterattacking tools, I already given. You are equipped. And if you counterattack all 5 forces, and then let the meditation thought into your mind, and it will nicely concentrate with single pointedness, or the mind will unify, thought process will unify on that good thought or meditation thought, leading the mind to concentration. Okay. So corrective forces, let me summarize. You already know sensual desires can be curbed, corrected, arrested, or fully removed if you want by practicing, by applying that unattractiveness of uh, bodily parts or anatomical parts. That's how the mind can be trained to attack sensual desires. Okay, let's summarize each one now. Loving kindness can attack and correct this. Sensual desires can be attacked and corrected by this particular meditation. What about the others? Sloth and torpor? What is the tool I gave? Well, there are 3 methods to counteract. One is walking meditation, which you already know. The other 2 I have not introduced actually. I will not be able to because of the time issue. One of them may be next time, right? Restlessness and worry. How to prevent the mind going to the past or to the future. The best meditation is this activity happening here. Right? Whatever activity happening at the present moment is good. Breathing happens always. Whether you are listening to a lecturer or whether you are running or whatever, breathing is always happening. There may be places that you are unable to move to do another activity to concentrate. Therefore, since the breathing is naturally there and it's present all the time, breathing meditation is the best to arrest restlessness and worry. Okay? Sloth and torpor can be arrested by 3 meditations, I'm sorry. W for walking meditation, L for light, D for death meditation. So, light meditation and meditation on death, I did not introduce. If possible, light meditation I'll outline later. Walking meditation, I think I have given. You can use that to overcome sloth and torpor when it becomes forceful in the mind. About the doubt of your ability or your own ability, what do we do? If you have known a person, someone who has done it earlier, who is highly capable of concentration, highly capable of controlling the mind. If you have a known person and if you believe in that person, that's one way. One way to eliminate the doubt that is it possible? The question that is it possible? Have others done it? Or is it possible for me? Can I do it? That kind of questions you can overcome by taking examples from people who have done it. For anyone, if you have a religious leader whom you belong, whom you believe, well, he may be the best, because all the religious leaders we know, they have developed their mind into concentration levels, absorption levels, and control the minds and all that. So that belief will be helpful to overcome this doubt. Plus, you need to believe in yourself also. You need to believe in your ability also. Okay, so that is faith, basically. Faith and self-belief combined will overcome this force. These are the three words, WLD. Okay. So are you clear about the five-pronged attack you have to launch against these culprits in the mind? So in such a way that once you practice these meditations by attacking from different angles, slowly your concentration ability will be there. You can drive the mind straight into concentration. That is the summary I want to give. So all the meditations we learned are putting into a plan, isn't it? These are tools, meditations are tools to be used at the appropriate time. And they are part of a plan, actually. So to drive the mind into certain stages, higher stages, you need to stick to a plan of identifying what are the culprits, what factors are the culprits, and what tools should be used against them. Therefore, remember this five-pronged attack on the five forces. That will slowly help you. Even you may not be able to drive the mind to concentration in 1 day or 2 days, but with proper practice by attacking these five forces very quickly, you will be able to develop that ability. But if you let loose one of these culprits, for example, suppose you don't want to do this meditation because some of you had concerns, unpleasantness of the body. You have concerns, and so you might decide, okay, I'm not going to do it. What will happen? What will happen to your five-pronged attack? You have a loose end here, isn't it? You are controlling other factors, but since you have not controlled the sensual lust, you will never be able to drive your mind to concentration. The mind will be pulled by that force. Therefore, don't lose any of these five forces. Don't let them lose. Let them lose any one of them. Right? Curb all five. Arrest all five of them and get rid of all five of them. Then only you can experience the real inner happiness or inner joy. Right? This is why I mentioned that leaving out a particular meditation tool might make you handicapped when you want to achieve concentration. Some other day, in an earlier day, I mentioned that. You can understand why. This is the reason. If you let loose any one of these five culprits, they are highly forceful and they are fully capable of ruining all your higher meditation states of the mind. Even for studies, when you do cramming for exam or preparing for exam, again, it is the same five forces, the five hindrances, ruining your studies. So the more you learn to curb or control the five forces, better will be your studies. Therefore, anyone can use this for worldly developments also, like exams, studies, etc. So it is dangerous to curb one or two of them and let one or two other culprits loose. Right? Never do that. Then your plan will fail. Right. Then the concentration. How do we define? Look at this. What we call ordinary consciousness is Ordinary consciousness is that the 5 hindrances are in control. 5 hindrances are in control of your mind. Then you say you are conscious, but you are average or ordinary. Ordinary mind. The moment you start suppressing these 5, using the 5 tools I gave you, slowly your mind will be driven to a state called excess concentration, where the gross presence of the hindrances will be controlled. No strong emotional pull by the hindrances. There will be certain calmness, certain joy in the mind during excess concentration. But it is not still full concentration. It's not still dhyana. It's basic concentration only. Yes, editing period of the journal. I will correct till tonight, midnight tonight. Okay. After the lecture, I will do that correction, right? So you can enter this week's journal up to tonight, midnight. Right? Okay. So if you practice further, your excess concentration can be developed into a level called first meditative absorption state. MAS, we call it meditative absorption state. In Pali, it's called dhyana. This is normal samadhi, but this is dhyana, which is strong concentration. What is the difference? Here, in the excess concentration, hindrances are subdued or controlled to some extent. But in the absorption state, first absorption state, hindrances are totally absent. Totally absent. Total absence of all 5 hindrances in the mind. That moment, the mind is in the first absorption state. Right? The mind is fully withdrawn from sensuality. It's not concerned about the eyes, ears, nose, the seeking happiness from outside. It is fully withdrawn from there. It has single pointed attention on the meditation thought. All 5 hindrances are totally absent. There is presence of 5 factors which replace the hindrances. They are called dhyanic factors or jhanic factors, which I'm going to teach you next time. But at the moment, you can see with the 5-pronged attack on the 5 hindrances, you can first get the mind to excess concentration level, where the gross control of the 5 hindrances could be broken, could be dismantled. So with certain calmness and certain enjoyment in the mind, with practice, you can fully withdraw from sensuality for a certain period of time, during which you can enjoy this complete inner happiness from the absorption state 1. Okay. So that is the summary of our discussion today about the hindrances, their control. So you would notice now 5 meditations which I gave you earlier, taught you earlier, will be useful in this particular attack of the hindrances. Okay, so it's time, our quiz time is arriving. So maybe it is time for us to stop now and get ready for the quiz. Sorry, I could not give you question time on this session. What I would suggest is please post the questions on the particular forum I have created in the module. Under the course at the very top, you will find it. Please use that to put questions there. I will answer. Right? Okay, there will be 18 questions this time for 15 minutes. Some of which will have the things that we discussed today. Okay, and it's sequential quiz like earlier. Mostly multiple choice and 1 or 2 very short answers may be there. Okay, so let's stop here. Good luck for you with the quiz. Thank you very much.